I want to shift gears a little bit that's related to service and love, and something that I know is near and dear to you and your foundation, the Wingman Foundation.
Right.
The mission you all, and clean me up again here where I miss, but you raise funds and awareness for soldiers, for veterans and their families in need. I want to connect this, community is so important. And research that I've read about the event industry shows that the power and the value of audience members connecting, and it gives a huge value to an event and establishes a community. And community is one of the values that people that attend conferences really value, and that create, even event planners value that community because they want to be some part of something bigger. In your foundation, clearly it's important for you to give back. What do you say to those that are with desire, have that need to serve, to give back, and fostering that sense of community during events, after events, before events, where there might be an opportunity to connect with the community and give back?
So it's funny that you mentioned that. There's a lot of people like, oh, I didn't serve in the military. I wasn't in combat. I'm just a software salesperson. Or I'm just a nurse at a hospital. But everybody has an opportunity to serve, and you don't need to wear a flight suit or fly an F-16 to do it. I end my speeches. Recently, I changed this in the last year on a quote that I made up probably 5 or 6 years ago during Veterans Day. And I was really pondering my future, who I am. Actually, it was probably more like 10 years ago. And the quote is this, and I'm going to say Americans, but it could be people. And so my quote is, if you want to say thank you to the Americans who fight for our country, then be the type of American worth fighting for. And so that means waking up every single day with honor, looking at yourself saying, I'm giving to my community. I'm on the phone like I was this week, twice with new emerging speakers, spending my time, giving my wings away, not posting it on social media for a like, but because it's part of my ethos and because people lifted me up and coached me and mentored me along the way. They gave their wings to me. And I'm showing these pictures to you because I want you to see the analogy of it in life. When you do that and emulate the excellence, often behind the scenes that nobody sees, then that builds confidence and faith in yourself. When you look at the news and you see people, men, women, first responders, whatever, out there in battle, fighting for love and right for people who don't have the wherewithal to support themselves, who are struggling, then you could say, I'm doing it in my own way. And so folks who are fighting for me, our fighter pilots, our Navy SEALs, our veterans, our first responders, I'm worthy of that because I'm doing the work myself and I'm contributing. And so that is such an important asset in life. It builds confidence. It gives meaning to your mission, the why before you fly. And it's just the thrust you need to make it through some tough days, because sometimes you're going to need to say the 3 most important words in your life, which are, I need help. And so when you ask with honor, knowing that you're going to pay it forward, ask away. Ask others for help. Have the courage to take your mask off and be transparent and vulnerable, because deep down, you've been giving your wings away. You're serving. And so it's a quid pro quo symbiotic relationship in the world. I believe in energy and love and guidance, spirituality, faith, whatever you call it. And I think that's part of the reason why I love doing what I do, because I know I'm building that confidence. I'm doing the hard work. And there's so many people in my career, in my life, every single day. Somebody's helping me out and hooking me up, man. And I just say, well, the universe is paying me back, and I'm just going to keep doing it forward. And that's why the people in the room in conferences, you may be the one there struggling. Just look to your left and right.
That's right.
Ask for help. Hey, the answer may not necessarily be from the stage. It's from that Top Gun sitting next to you, and the thing that happens a week after that program and the relationship that you nurture. So
yeah, I can tell you, just beautiful, and again, I'm just present to the love and the contribution and the generosity of spirit, but I can't tell you how many conferences. You and I go to a ton of conferences.
Sure.
And during Q&A, which I know you love, it's such a rich, there's a spark to it, right? I mean, your keynotes are magnificent, and there's energy and great anecdotes and life lessons and that you can use right away. But in that Q&A, it has a different texture to it, you know?
Yes.
And I can't tell you how many times that I've been in a Q&A where I've had several speakers at a conference, and somebody will get up and ask something personal. I don't know, their child has dyslexia, or they have some challenge in the community. And what do they, from their perspective, recommend that they do? And then during the break, you'll see 3 or 4 people come up to that person and say, "Hey, you know what? I'm the regional president of XYZ association or foundation, and we would love to come into your community and see
Yeah.
if we could set something up." And that's just because that person was vulnerable, willing, communicated, extended themselves, shared, spoke up, stood for something, and then the energy flows your way. And I'm
Yeah.
telling you, I see it all the time.
That's the beauty of those meetings, and when people are willing to be vulnerable and ask for help, and setting the energy and the tone in that room, the vector. And if you could create a whole conference like that,
Yeah.
where people are connecting and asking and all that. Once again, the keynoter, the speaker, whoever was on the platform at the time, if they can set that vector, phew, that's a beautiful
Yeah.
thing. And I think that's what we do as keynoters on the closing or to opening, to set the trend and the theme of that meeting, or to send them on their way with a call to action. But at the end of the day, the truth comes from the person on that platform. They must be authentic. People smell the inauthenticity. We have to have done the work. We have to have done the work. And that's why I love talking on these podcasts or on stage when these questions are popping up. Because hey, sometimes I don't know, or let me research that, or does anybody have an answer in the room for this young man or woman? Because I
That's right.
don't, right?
That's
And
right.
that's okay. You can't be all
That's
things
right.
to all people. But I love
Yeah.
being challenged like that. And it's a beautiful thing when we could be the spark to the answers of people in their personal and professional lives, man. That's really what it's all about. Because when you're
Yep.
doing well, it's great. But it's when those struggles come that the true test to performance happens, right?
Yeah, and it's, I'll just take it a little bit further. We're coming to the end of our conversation here. I feel like we're going to leave some stuff on the table, but it's about legacy. And I've asked you offline, if you had your Andy Warhol moment of, what is it that you would share with the world? And I'm gonna put it in my own words, but it's like, be the person that people want to count on, be the person that people can reach for, that people can know that you have their back. And that's you use the word ethos, I use the phrase core virtue, and that's really who you are. And that's the legacy, right? Whether it's from the keynote stage, whether it's with your son, that's the through line that's emanating. You call it a vector, I'll call it a through line,
Right.
that is being spread out, because you never know who's listening. You never know who you're sitting next to. You never know who the person sitting next to you is sitting next to, et cetera, et cetera. And